Nigeria marks 63rd independent anniversary. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reiterated his commitment to public reforms programs aimed at stabilizing the economy. This is National Talk on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada, and tonight we are going to be reminiscing on the past administration ahead of the 63rd independent anniversary. And to do this, I have Mr. Mwansat. Good evening and welcome to National Talk.
Thank you very much, Ms. Joyce.
Well, it feels good to have you, and it's not out of place to say Happy Independence, even though some people have gave warning yesterday that in all your doings, don't make the mistakes of saying Happy Independence. I hope you're not one of them.
Well, I'm not one of them, but Happy Independence anyways.
Thank you, thank you. Like, you know, when they talk about independence, it's always about freedom.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be caged. Nobody wants to be just tied up and all of that. Everybody wants that freedom, and I think to some extent Nigerians over the years have enjoyed some of these freedoms, like the rights we have as enshrined in our constitution, even though today most of the rights are obviously infringed upon. We're supposed to have freedom to life, right to education, but today it's almost not accessible. Talking about education, when it comes to right to life, some people will just sleep and they wake up. Before they wake up, or you just wake up and hear news that people have been slaughtered, kidnappings, amongst many other issues. But today marks the 63rd independent anniversary of Nigeria, and of course, whether we like it or not, on the street out there, it's more like mixed feelings. While others are, oh, happy independence on the white and green, others are saying, I don't have any reason to celebrate any independence. But I just want to get your general overview, your assessment on Nigeria's journey to nationhood. 6 decades plus. What's your assessment of this journey?
Well, so far, not good, as far as I can tell. You know, truly, when I got invitation to come on air and I got wind of what to discuss about, truly, I had serious mixed feelings. I first thought of what do I wear to symbolize how I feel deep inside. I thought of putting on black, you know, so I could just tell the nation that Nigerians are mourning. We are supposed to be celebrating 63rd independence, you know. But are we really independent? That's the question every Nigerian is asking. And the truth is, I don't blame any Nigerian that has mixed feelings today as we celebrate our independence. Because, to tell you the truth, do we really have anything to enjoy to celebrate this independence for? I really doubt if we do. Yeah.
But earlier on, the president, while addressing Nigeria, he reiterated his promises of securing lives, securing properties. He's committed to public reform programs that is aimed at stabilizing the economy, direct fiscal and monetary policy to fight inflation. He encouraged production, ensure security of lives and properties, and as well as lend more support to the poor and the vulnerable. Recall that earlier in the week, the Secretary General of the Federation said, oh, the celebration is going to be low-key. That's to say that it's not like they are unaware of the challenges that Nigeria is currently facing, from global economic downturn, inflation, the issue of hardship that Nigerians are facing due to the removal of fuel subsidy, and even unemployment. Today we have a lot of graduates on the streets and that's no job. And some people will tell you, no, it's not even the fault of the employers. Most of them are not employable, because when you talk about employees, it's about solving problems and not just coming to constitute problems. We've had instances where even a former president said that we don't even have space in the federal parastatals, and so everybody should just find a way of getting something to do because the federal government cannot even employ. So these are some of the challenges that Nigerians are currently faced with. And to add up again is the issue of insecurity, where, okay, can we, the poor, just breathe? If you will not provide the basic amenities, let me just go home, sleep, wake up. But it's almost like people don't sleep right now. Every community, every village, there's these local vigilantes. Even amidst security presence, you hear of killings, attack. People go to farmlands are being destroyed, and this has been like the narrative for decades. And it has been a thing of concern. But I want us to just, considering these promises that the president have made and reiterated today, you just said you're having mixed feeling. You don't blame people with mixed feeling. I went on social media earlier and I saw how somebody made a post of dead bodies, people who were killed, and he said, so what are we celebrating? Imagine having a loved one in that, like, amongst such people, and then what am I celebrating? Somebody posted that, oh, we are celebrating a nation that has been like overpowered by the bandits and all of that. But amidst all of that, the federal government say for this year's independence going to be renewed hope for unity and prosperity. Does this not give hope?
Well, you see, we have heard series of promises from politicians. I just hope this is not going to be another political statement. I hope it's not going to be promises as usual. Nigerians are tired of hearing promises. Nigerians want results. An average Nigerian man is very, very contented when he has food to eat, when he can sleep in peace and take care of his business. They don't really ask for too much. But I just discovered that Nigerian politicians are just so insensitive to the plight of our country men and women. They don't care how people survive. All they are interested in is playing politics. They feel politics is just the center of their existence. They don't really have this sense of humanity in them. We're just tired of all the promises. Somebody comes in, promise you within 2-3 days we're going to see this, we'll see that, and reverse is the case. You know, somebody just recently, I watched an interview granted by the former Emir of Kano State. He said, our leaders have taken us 45 years back. You know, it's like giving birth to a baby. You know, instead of the baby to grow, the baby is not even stagnating in one place. The baby is retrogressing. You know, it's only in Nigeria that we see retrogressive growth. We move a step forward and then we move so many steps backward. So as far as I'm concerned, this is just the level of political statements. We want to see actions. Nigerians want to see all these promises translated into actions, so that at least the common man can breathe, like you said earlier.
All right, I think as we celebrate 63rd year of independence, is also an opportunity for us to actually reflect on leadership eras, and of course these are eras that shape the nation and has brought us to where we are. People have faulted leadership as the major challenge that's brought us to the position where we are currently but I want us to just reflect on past leadership, looking at from the time of Goodluck Jonathan to former President Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, and then to the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And beginning with economic performances, I recall that back then when the issue of fuel subsidy came up during the era of President Goodluck Jonathan, people tore the streets, a lot of protests calling on the president, oh, fight these and not these. And as at that time, fuel was selling about 65, like that. And then people were on the streets calling names, saying all manner of things. And today, we are faced with the same challenge. When the current president came in, he removed the subsidy, and there were calls for protests, the threat strike, and as it is right now, the NLC are calling for strike as well from Tuesday. So I just want us to look at the economic performances from the past administration. Like let's just limit it to era of Goodluck Jonathan, President Muhammadu Buhari, and then Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even though he just started. He just started, but let's just look at this different administration. What's your take on the economic performances?
Okay, thank you very much. You know, when you're looking at economic performance of an administration, you're looking at job creation, you're looking at the inflation rate, you're looking at the rate of unemployment, you're looking at exports, like forex earnings from our exports, both oil and non-oil revenue, looking at the revenue that is accrued to the state. You know, debt servicing as well can also be a factor or an indices when you are looking at a particular economic stand of government. Looking at these three administrations, one, I will not do justice to Goodluck. I mean, to Tinubu, the current president,
yes.
if I am going to judge him for just the few days he has spent in the office. But I can say a little about some of the policies, because you know, Hausa man would always tell you that the good Friday will always be known from a Wednesday, isn't it?
True.
You know, but then when you look at the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, I can say today without mincing words that he deserves an apology. You know, a lot of people came out talking, people came out insulting Goodluck Jonathan. He's one of the most insulted presidents as far as I am concerned. He said it before he left office. But you know, he made a very prophetic statement before he left. He said, when I leave office, a lot of you would look back and regret.
I think President Muhammadu Buhari made the same statement also, that Nigerians will appreciate him when he leaves.
Okay, I won't be surprised, because you know, he knew what he left before. You know, he actually, the foundation, the distorted foundation he left before this current administration. But when we look at the economy during Goodluck Jonathan's time, the truth is we cannot compare with the way the Buhari administration bastardized our economy. I am telling you that the worst that has ever happened to Nigeria is the 8 years of President Buhari. The truth is, the economy was dwindling. People were looking at it. A lot of people were calling people to caution, but they kept quiet until they floated this economy aground. You can imagine that almost 96% of our revenue was going into debt servicing. We had a National Assembly that was not living up to expectation. He brings, whenever he brings, any loan request, all they did was, okay, let's approve. You know, they were not looking at the resultant effect, the long-term effect of all these borrowings.
I think the Ninth Assembly was one that a lot of people refer to as
the rubber stamp economy,
yes,
you know.
And no wonder the expectation on the 10th Assembly that we hope it will not be, even though some Nigerians are already expressing dissatisfaction. But I think, well, we give them more time.
Absolutely. You see, you look at the rate of unemployment. People that had employment lost their jobs. You know, we're not even talking about creating employment. People that were engaged lost their jobs. Imagine the rate of $1, our forex exchange today. It's not stabilized. The naira kept on being devalued. You know, the valuation of the naira until today, $1 is equivalent to 1,000 naira. It tells you how precarious the situation is. You know, and I can tell you without mincing words that it was certainly incompetence that brought about this. People came with policies that were very, very self-centered, at the same time very injurious to the economy. Where are we today? We are servicing debt. We cannot, we have an export, our export, no export earnings. People were moving capital flights. People were moving their monies away from Nigeria. Companies were closing up. You know, this is not the country our forefathers envisaged. The economy is actually in shambles. I can tell you that our foreign reserve was very good during Goodluck Jonathan's time. How much was the purchasing power of a common Nigerian? You know, how much were prices of food and other things, commodities in the market? You know, our wage, despite the fact that people were complaining, but could still take you home. But today, you get paid and your money finishes before the money. You even go to the bank. That's also truth. You know, so we are just in a very sorry state, and I don't know how these people are going to get us out of this mess.
Interesting. You know, one of the things that has been of concern to people is the issue of prosecution. Like, we keep pointing hands. This administration will come and say, oh, these people did this, they did dirty to the nation. This one will come and will anchor on, oh, it is not me, it is what I inherited. I recall that during Goodluck Jonathan's time, oh, a lot of people kept talking about corruption, waxing grades and all, and then when President Muhammadu Buhari came, it was more like the scent has come and a lot of issues were going to be dealt with. He anchored his campaign on security, fighting corruption, and I think economic reforms around that. And people were really hopeful, oh, something great is going to come out. But surprisingly, before the end of the 8 years, there were a lot of revelations, a lot. Currently, the issue of the former CBN governor, and amazing how things kept unfolding. And Tinubu, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is here. Just 3 months, you said earlier on, to be fair on his part, even though some economic reforms have been made, policies have been made, and Nigerians are actually feeling the impact, the removal of the first subsidy, which he did on the day of his inauguration. I know this is something that a lot of people have clamored for even before now, the removal. Almost the 3 major political presidential candidates and PDP, Labour Party, and even the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, oh, we are going to remove, because we have noticed that a lot is being spent on fuel subsidy at the detriment of other sector.
Yeah.
So Nigerians are actually hopeful that, see, at the end of the day, if it is at the detriment of other sectors, so if you remove it, we are going to start feeling the impact. There's going to be subsidy in the area of education, having accessibility to healthcare, even electricity, amongst other issues. But apparently, it's just few months after that decision. But I tell you, if you ask the average Nigerian out there, it looks like 3, 4, or even 8 years of this hardship, because times are hard. People, the market is not even friendly. Gone are the days you want to just go to the market and just window shopping and all. You can't even go to the market with a budget right now.
That's true.
Because when you go, you meet surprises. Right. So there has always been issue of, oh, it is this administration, no, it is that administration. Are you concerned about this pointing fingers without anybody being brought to book? Like they always say, we ensure we bring them to book. Oh, we have the list of these people. Oh, lack of prosecution. Even this issue of first subsidy that we've been hearing. Oh, it's some few individuals that have been diverting funds, have been selling to other West African nations, and nobody is being prosecuted. Sometimes in 2012, a committee was set up to look into that, but I don't think we saw anything coming out from. Like, are you concerned about this lack of prosecution?
Well, I think it's a thing of concern for any well-meaning Nigerian. The truth is, you know a leader, and a good leader don't spend time on the blame game. You know, whatever you meet, you see how you can remedy what you meet on ground. I can tell you that the administration of President Buhari, when they came, they practically spent more than half of the 8 years blaming Goodluck Jonathan's regime. You know, whenever they are short of ideas, they turn and start blaming the previous regime. Instead of trying to look at how to better the lives of Nigerians, they spent the whole time. I can even tell you that in 2015, it wasn't even a campaign, it was a blackmail. You know, people kept on blackmailing Goodluck Jonathan, saying this and that, and eventually, yes, you came with the mantle of fighting corruption. But then, at the end of the day, we witnessed unprecedented corruption in the history of Nigeria in that regime. Let me quote Sanusi Lamido again. He was in an interview and he made mention of an individual that never held a government office. But today, the man is a billionaire. Today, the man is flying private jets. You know, they were just giving a bad name to the dog in order to hang it. But the truth is, there was no corruption that was being fought. Instead, it was victimization and witch hunting. Okay, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just came on board. Yeah, I am very, very pleased with some of his policies, particularly the investigation of the CBN. I can tell you that if at the end of the day they judiciously investigate the CBN, you'll be surprised the kind of rot they would have gotten from there. If not, when was the last time CBN gave Nigerians their budget? You know, as at today, they just discovered that about 3 trillion naira was missing from the Anko Borrower Scheme and the Narsel Bank and other things. These are all corrupt practices done directly under the nose of people that said were fighting corruption. There was no willpower to fight corruption. Rather, it was just blocking a particular aspect so that some people can enjoy certain aspect of the corruption. So I think it's a thing of concern that we have people today and they are not being prosecuted for the ills they're doing. I can tell you without fear of being contradicted that the laws in Nigeria are basically meant for the poor and the common man. You know, you steal 20,000 naira. I'm not encouraging anybody to steal, but this person spends donkey years awaiting trial. Somebody steals billions of naira. You give him a slap on the wrist, and where are they today? The next day you give him amnesty. As I'm telling you, I just read on the paper, I don't know if it's true, it's just an allegation and allege that MFLA is trying to go into a plea bargain with the federal government to relinquish about 50 billion naira, and then and then he gets, I mean, who does that? Who does that? You can imagine in a sinner climb, nobody does that. You have to account for all the misdeeds, you have done while in office. By the time you do that, it serves as a detriment for others that are coming. But it's like once you get out of a particular cycle in this country and you move into the next cycle, it's like you are almost above the law. The law and all the odds favors you. Imagine the numbers of tax rebates and tax holidays that are being given to the rich, while the poor are the ones that are being taxed, heavily. The system is actually not balanced. When we're talking about corruption, this corruption is not just all about stealing millions of naira. These people should start by looking at themselves. And earlier on, you talked about the issue of fuel subsidy. The truth is, I have always been an advocate for fuel subsidy removal, if truly the politicians will be truthful to whatever they are saying they want to do. It makes no sense for you to give subsidy and then at the end of the day, where is the money going to? You have not mentioned an individual that is benefiting from this oil subsidy money.
But are you concerned about the methodology? It was on the day of inauguration that we just had the president just say,
I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. The truth is, you see, you can't just wake up as a leader and make pronouncements, because every of your actions and your inaction has a way of backfiring on the economy of the nation.
True.
Your statement alone can either crash the stock exchange market, and that actually happened, because the truth is, immediately this man made that pronouncement. You can't just wake up and make pronouncements as if you are making pronouncements on your household. This is something that concerns the lives of over 200 million Nigerians. You can't just wake up one day. If you want to remove subsidy, fine. But what measures have you taken to cushion the effect of this fuel subsidy? Nobody is saying they shouldn't remove subsidy. But I can tell you they are still grappling 3-4 months after removal of the fuel subsidy. They are still grappling on what to give workers. As far as I'm concerned, these are inhuman treatments to Nigerians. Okay, in the independence speech, the president made an award of 25,000 naira to civil servants.
For 6 months.
For 6 months. And I looked at it and I said, why are Nigerians always being taken for granted? This is a democracy. If you want to give a wage award, what happens to collective bargaining? You have called the organized labor to the negotiation table. You sat down with these people. They gave you a proposal. You told them you were going to look into it. You kept on dribbling these people. You come for a meeting today, they will not be around. Tomorrow you say you need 8 months, 8 weeks, you need 4 weeks, you need 2 weeks, and you didn't even call these people to tell them this is what we are considering. You went on national TV and announced that. Today, as I'm talking to you, I think they are still currently meeting, and I want to believe that Labour may not accept that. I don't want to preempt anyway. But then look at 25,000 naira. What is the value of 25,000 naira in the current economy today? How much is 25,000?
Someone said by next week it might be 2,000.
By next week, I can assure you it can be less than 2,000 naira. So you don't just sit down and arbitrarily just feel, I'll give you 2,000, I'll give you. No. Nigeria is ours. This is our common patrimony. This is our common heritage. Yes, you're the leader of this country. People elected you to be there. You didn't just wake up and say, I want to lord over Nigerians, I want to be leader of this country. But I feel in a democracy, there should be principles of collective bargain. I am not a labor unionist, but I can tell you that what the labor is doing, it is very, very correct. And I still encourage them that if the private government is not coming out to do the needful, then they should just stay wherever they should stay at home.
Why are you not concerned about the average Nigerian? Because most times it is the poor that are being affected. Now, when there is a strike, most of these people often have their ways.
Joyce, let me tell you something. Everybody
and some people have accused the NLC of compromise as well. That these people don't mind them, we are just trying to.
But with the way I'm seeing things these days, I don't think it's going to be this thing as usual. It's going to be the way it used to be. The truth is, you have to make sacrifices for you to get benefits from whatever you intend to do. The truth is, yes, at the end of the day, with the way labor is going, I feel everybody is going to feel the pains. Everybody is going to burn the brunt, because the truth is, if the airports are being shut down, I just saw notices from all the airport workers and others. They are all interested in going on this strike. Yes, is there any pains that we will go through that we have not gone through? Is there any pains that Nigerians will go through that they are not currently going through?
And they are still going through.
And they are still going
I remember
through.
going to the markets at the weekend just yesterday, and then the person I went to buy things from is saying, "Oh, buy this, oh, because next week the price is going to increase." I was like, "Are you not tired of telling me every day?" I'm not surprised any longer. Like, when you're going to the market, you should expect that, and it's just so sad that a lot of Nigerians are going through this.
That's right.
Your source of income is not increased.
That's right.
Stagnated. There, as we speak, there are states that are yet to implement the 30,000 minimum wage.
For real.
And then when you go to the market, you can barely like take a backhoe back, or with things that, let's say, oh, is worth 10,000.
Yeah.
You can't get it today. So a lot of things are actually happening, and we hope that they do the needful. We know that policies like that, oh, it might take time, but a lot of Nigerians are not against some of these policies. But the issue is the methodology. You can't wake up and just take decisions that affect over like 200 million people, and then you just keep roaming around trying to find solution. You should be able to put modalities in place before taking decisions, so that at the end of the day we don't leave people languishing in pain, because there are people that have lost their life because they cannot even afford the meal. So we just hope the needful is being done. Let's talk about insecurity. This is something that is dear to the heart of any patriotic Nigeria. You wouldn't want to just watch your country going down by day. It's not a good sight to behold, of people being slaughtered, or waking up to the news daily to hear that there is an attack here, there is an attack there, destruction of farmlands and all of that. We've had over time on the news how that, administration from this administration to that administration promising we're going to deal with this issue. In fact, one of the reasons why so many people voted President Muhammadu Buhari then into power was the assurance, oh, this person has a military antecedent and so he's going to do this. They anchored on that during the campaign. We recalled all the issue of bombing, the killings, and also they can do it. They can, but whereas the Muhammadu Buhari came into power and it didn't stop. Remember the abduction of the Chibok girls, the Dapchi girls. Like, look at the issue of Bethel Baptist in Kaduna, and other institutions recently in Zamfara. Female students were also kidnapped. This thing continues from one administration to the other. Is it lack of political will? I've heard a stakeholder in this nation say this is an issue that can be dealt with. Nigerians have over the years like gone to other countries to help out. They have received even honors for standing out, for helping in terms of insecurity. Why has our own situation refused to change? Every day people are in pain, people are crying because of the issue of insecurity. Like, what exactly is wrong? Is it that our strategy is wrong, or is it that with absence of political will? Sometimes you hear, oh, we have purchased this Tucano aircraft. Later you hear, oh, bandits have bombed it. So you hear that, okay, recently the appointment of the service chief, people were optimistic. People were happy that, oh, these people, we know their antecedents, we know their pedigrees, they are going to deliver. A lot of expectation. But today, we're still talking about people that are still languishing, kidnappers then. It was within the week that we saw pictures of people that were killed in their own community. Like, what exactly is wrong?
Joyce, anytime I talk about insecurity in Nigeria, actually I talk about insecurity with heavy hearts. Nigerians have succeeded in devaluing human lives. We no longer see human lives as sacred. And why? I will not tell you that it's not lack of willpower, but I can tell you from investigative reporting that nobody came out to debunk, or when people came out to debunk, they didn't come out to debunk those things with concrete evidence, like empirical evidence. He says, you know, there are people that are benefiting from this thing, whether we like it or not. Either people supplying arms. I can tell you, I just saw a report recently with all the banditry in Zamfara and in Niger State. Do you know that mining activities are still going on in these places? And it reminds me of movies like Blood Diamond, you know, where chaos is deliberately, I am not saying this, I'm not conceding to that, I'm not, that's not because I don't have any evidence to, but you know, when I see things like that happen, when I discovered that the mining still takes place in Niger State and Zamfara State and other places, it takes, you know, it takes a rational human being to add 1 plus 1. I started thinking, I saw a movie, Blood Diamond, just a situation where chaos is being formed so that certain activities will be going on unchecked. I want to tell you that if you look at the amount of money, according to reports on the media, that went down the drain in the name of fighting corruption, then you know that, I mean, in the name of fighting insecurity, then you will know that the truth is there seem to be people benefiting from this at the detriment of people's lives. I will tell you this firsthand because I am a victim of this crisis in this state. My house got burned like 2-3 years ago. I know what happened when all these things, so I have some first-hand things I saw when all these things happened. So it's not just the matter of willpower. They may have the willpower, but the truth is, if we don't sit down and tell ourselves the truth, we have succeeded in Liberia, we have succeeded in Sierra Leone, we have fought a civil war, Nigeria became victorious. Somebody once said that if a crisis of this magnitude spans for a long period of time, check very well. There might be some certain hands behind the scenes. I am not accusing anybody, but let's tell ourselves the truth. Enough of all this bloodshed. You want to tell me that these people that came all the way, I mean, these people that are perpetrating these things, you want to tell me that people don't know where they are? You want to tell me that we don't have the resources to fight these people?
These have been the questions that Nigerians have been asking. Because in a particular location, you hear these people will write and say, we'll come tomorrow.
That's right.
Committee members will tell you that. And then they will come, even
That's
at
right.
the time they stated.
Right.
And then even in the presence of security,
That's
you
right.
hear that same village that was attacked yesterday is still attacked today.
That's right.
What do you make of the efforts, like from previous administration down to this particular administration? On today's the president's independence speech, he said he's still committed to fighting insecurity, ensuring the protection of lives and property, and we can't take that away because that's even the primary responsibility of government, ensuring the protection of lives and property. What do you make of the effort so far?
I won't take such statements seriously until when we see results. You see, when you look at the history of all these things, I can imagine that a particular sect of people came on national TV to threaten a sitting governor. Nobody is doing anything about that. You can imagine that bandits will come. Just recently, the military said they're investigating a video that went viral where the bandits came to have meetings with communities, you know, and they sat down. Look.
We've seen pictures of even past governors taking pictures with even these bandits. We've had situations where these people make videos. These videos will go around.
That's right.
You hear situations, alleges of government in communication with these people, and they tell you all is an effort to combat insecurity.
You see, this, as far as I'm concerned, people's lives are just being played with. And I will say this, that sooner than later, whatever actions we do here, if we don't pay it here on earth, we're going to pay it someday in heaven. That's just all I'm going to say about the security situation.
Well, there are a lot of things to talk about Nigeria at 63. We'll just go on this quick break. When we return, the phone lines will be open for you to call and add your voice. Stay with us. you for staying with us on the Independence Show. It is National Talk, a special edition brought to you by Equa Television International. And we have been looking at Nigeria's 63, the issues, challenges we have been faced with, reminiscing on past administration. And of course, we would not just point out the issues, but offer solutions. What is your take on past administration, how governance has been? Do well to call and add your voice. I've been discussing with Mr. Mwansat. Great discussion and analysis so far. But I would like us to talk about governance. Okay. A lot of people have likened the situation we found ourselves to bad governance. Some will say, oh, it's absence of leaders. We don't have good leaders, leaders that have hearts for service that is being poured to the people. We don't have leaders that are patriotic. Others say, oh, our leaders don't even believe in democracy, that people should know what they want and deserve to get it, and no one that people kill to get certain position. We witnessed it during the last election, how that certain participants were killed, and then lot of questions emerging, people trying to pay their way through, buy people's conscience so that they can emerge and then get the seat. And just wondering, just like one of the presidential candidates, particularly Peter Obi of the Labour Party, saying that if a process that brings you to power is not excellent, then of course people would not expect anything excellent. So let's talk about governance. We have witnessed different administration, in fact from the first to even fourth republic, looking at the era of Goodluck Jonathan, and then former President Muhammadu Buhari, and then the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I recall that when he just came into power, apart from the surprise of May 29th, when he started taking decisions, policies, people were like, it's like, this man is going to be... So people were now forgetting their grievances with the presidential election, some that they didn't agree to that. And it's like, if we give this man a chance, he's going to do well. Then shortly again, when people start facing the pain, it now looks like, no, this is not the right person. So let's talk about governance. If democracy is a theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it, are we experiencing governance, or we are just having some crop of people that just want power by all means? We've had people in campaigns even say that, see, it is a lifetime ambition. Like, this is something they have nurtured, so it is my turn, I have to be there. We've had statements like that. You hear people say, this time around is for us. You see people, brothers, killing, fighting themselves because of... So is it absence of governance, I mean good governance, or is it character deficiency? Where are we missing?
Well, first down, it's multifaceted. One, I will try to look at it. Let's even start from the general populace, the Nigerian population in general. We seem not to know what we want as a people. Before we even, I know the bulk of everything stops at the table of those people in power. But let's check ourselves. I've gone beyond blaming our leaders now. I currently blame those people that would not do the needful. We have a set of people that in Nigeria say they call them the sit-down look people. People that don't even care what happens to them. So long as, like I said earlier, you know, Nigerians are just a set of contented people. Most of them, they just feel, as far as I eat, it doesn't concern me.
In fact, during the last election, the campaign season, I've heard people say, I will not go out and vote. I won't even waste my time. And I was bothered with all the campaign, with all the awareness, how that this is where your power lies. All the complaint that you've been making, this is the time for you to go out there and play your part. But you hear people say, no,
you see,
I won't.
Nigerian population, I would blame us for everything. We take every sort of rubbish. The truth is, we feel, okay, I think our diversity, instead of helping us, has helped in destroying this nation. We're supposed to have strength in our diversity, so that this community, this economy, ethnicity will complement the other. You know, we come together. You know, the more the merrier, according to some people. But it has actually played to our disadvantage. Somebody knows that this candidate is not competent, but because he is from my own side of the divide, I feel he should just be there. No matter how incompetent he is, no matter how competent he is, you can imagine when a minister was appointed, a section of the Nigerian divide came out to say, this is more of our birthright. Our person must be there. Whether he is competent or he's not competent, he has to be there. And then our youth are, I would say, are one of our youth. We are our problem. Before I came here, I was reading the story of Michael Okpara, of the former Northeastern, the premier of the Northeastern region. This man was just 30-something years. Imagine the exploits this man did in the old Eastern region. See what he did in Port Harcourt? His legacies are still here. But we have a set of youths in Nigeria today that don't even know their left from their right. They have serious misplaced priority. Let me give you an example. Just recently somebody died. Mohbad, or a musician or something, you know. I mean, a musician, may his soul rest in peace, you know. But I was surprised that a lot of Nigerian youths came out to protest, came out with candles and stuff like that. These youths never came out to say government policies are biting hard. Government, you know, by the time it protest, peaceful demonstrations.
I think we've had during the issue of this NSAS, a lot of people came out in 2020 to protest against police brutality, even though we saw how that some people's lives were actually cut short. Don't you think that maybe these are some of the factors that have made maybe young people decide to just withdraw? And
Joyce, let me tell you this.
And then our institutions not really strengthened to help
this democracy we are enjoying. We are thriving on some people's sweat and blood. That's just the truth. Do you know what it means to fight the colonial masters? As exploitative as they were? But you know, these people felt, the Azikiwes and others felt, this is my country. We
as
have
young people then.
Yes, as young people, we have no other place than this place. You know, you'll be surprised that people don't even know what is happening with their economy, in governance, but they know what is happening in the music entertainment world. They know what is happening in Big Brother Nigeria and other things. You know, that these things are happening. Yes, people got killed during the NSAS protest, but it yielded results. Government had to sit up. I can tell you, whoever was the president that day and those in leadership, they got scared to the bone marrow. They know that if people get aware of the fact that yes, I can speak out and say, as a Nigerian, these policies are biting and we will not take it, they will have no option than to stop toiling with Nigerians. But you know, we have misplaced priority, like I said earlier. People came out to protest. Demonstrating peaceful protest is enshrined in our constitution. It is a way of saying I am not pleased with these things, and it is constitutionally mandatory for the security agencies to provide security. But you see, the truth is, by the time you come to protest, the youth come out to protest, another section of the youth will be induced to come and scuffle.
We saw that happening even
and
during
then still cause problems.
Court issues when after the election, while some people are saying no, this is not our mandate, others carry placards in Abuja saying this is our mandate, this is the freest and fair election, even with the videos going on.
At the end of the day, ask yourself, these same people came out to say we were promised 5,000 naira. We were promised 2,000 naira. Others fought because their money were. That is the game plan of the ruling elites. They want to divide us, they want to rule us. They want to keep us in perpetual hunger. They want to keep us in perpetual subjugation. So that at the end of the day, when peanuts are thrown at you, you collect it gratefully. You collect it with all thanks.
He did well.
He did well.
Salary.
At the end of the day, paying salary is your right.
But
I worked for it. Yeah, people see it as an achievement.
Let's talk about our institution.
Yeah.
Corruption has been one issue that has lived like across administrations.
Yeah.
And it almost look inevitable. So, in fact, even people, when you talk about corrupt leaders, people will say, where did they emerge from? From the same society.
That's right.
So when it is, in fact, when a politician finishes his tenure without, let's say, a house, he's been insulted by his people, because you are expected to embezzle and then share for your people, or find a way of just embezzling because it is your turn. You are there now, cut your own share of national cake. Don't be foolish about it. So corruption has lingered. We have institutions that are meant to fight all of this, but day in, day out, we keep hearing issues that revolve around stealing, embezzlement, side funding, monies that are meant for projects. At the end of the day, you don't see nothing. We keep borrowing, and then we have nothing to show for it. Like, I've had people talk about reforms. Oh, our public institutions need reforms. Like I asked earlier, is it character deficiency, or truly we really need this reform?
You see, first and foremost, I will blame you and I for the corruption happening in this country. At the end of the day, it still boils down to the common man. Today, I know I've been privileged to go to some politicians' houses, and I can tell you, when you go to some of these houses, you'll be amazed the number of people that come to visit these politicians. Most of them are not coming with ideas and policies on how to move the society. Most of them are there for what they can get and put in their pocket. Somebody would come to a politician and tell him, I just got my wife pregnant and I need money to start preparing for this and that. Nobody wants to talk about empower me. Nobody wants to talk about, look, we voted you here. We don't have good roads. We don't have hospitals. People are just there, and you see them go in there morning after, from morning to evening. All are they looking for is money. Where would this politician get this money from? One, he will have to look for a way to steal. It is the same you and I that will look at a politician and say, oh my God, imagine he was a House of Representative member. Look at his house. Look at the kind of shoe he's putting on. We exert all sorts of pressure on these people. And when they go there, you feel that, okay, 90% of people that vote for certain people vote for them not because they believe they want to go there and do something good, but they believe they know that, oh, I'm closer to him, so I'm going to benefit from. I know shortly before the 2023 elections, I was discussing with somebody, and the person was telling me that, okay, who are you going to vote for presidency? And I was like, I think I am going with this. I was like, why don't you, if we go with this person, don't you think we're going to benefit more, like personally? And I was like, it's not all about what accrues to me at the end of the day. It's all about the well-being of the generality of these people. You know, I was in my office a few days ago, and a young lady was there and was not happy with one of my status, you know. And she was like, yeah, I was not happy because I actually posted a status of a tribunal verdict or something. She was like, yeah, but I would have loved. I said, why do you like this person? The first thing she said was, because he's from my place. I was like, look, these are the problems we are encountering. Corruption is embedded in the Nigerian system. And I can tell you, when we keep complaining about these politicians, they are still a product of the society, you know. And the truth is, give these people that are talking opportunity and see when they go there, they won't be that corrupt. Corruption is not all about stealing money. Corruption is what we do even in our houses. You don't expect that somebody brings a child from the village and you maltreat that person and you think it's not corruption.
It's indeed corruption, because when you know the right thing and you don't do
it,
going against the right thing is even corruption. You're supposed to show up 8 p.m. you're showing 5 minutes. It's corruption. You're supposed to be at work at 7:30. You're coming 9. It's corruption.
Let me even tell you, just recently an encounter that got me angry. We lost somebody, and I went to condole with the family, and the husband was telling us that when his wife slumped, he rushed her on a Sunday morning. He rushed her to Juve Hospital. He said when he got there, the nurse, it was an emergency. The nurse he met there just pushed the trolley to him and said, go and bring her in. And he looked at her and said, madam, am I supposed to be the one to, when he told her his name and he said, I'm Dr. This, she felt he was a medical. That was when she gave him an attention. That is the corruption of the highest order. And I can tell you that if we don't restructure and start looking at all these things, we will keep rigmaroling. It's just going to be a rat race. We'll keep talking about corruption and nothing will ever happen.
And you see, as followers, we need to start holding our leaders accountable, and that's what we do not do. Like you rightly explained, we are having high expectations. When we have luncheon, we come with card. When our wives are pregnant, we go there. When we are building house and we reach roofing, we go and look for all of these politicians. When they don't do it, we insult them. When they steal, it's not even your business. You suffer it. You don't hold them accountable for social basic needs, like the evidence of democracy that you should enjoy. They are not there, and you're not asking question. You're asking for, oh, okay, help me with 5,000 and all of that. So
That's right.
people need to reduce their expectation and start holding their leaders accountable. We can't, at 63, we should be talking about growth. We should be talking about sustainable development. We should be talking about economic stabilities. And I don't think we can boast of all of these things if we are not deliberate about human capital development and provision of social services cut across different administrations. You were talking earlier on about how that education, access to healthcare facilities, having electricity, all of these are the basics that the government should be able to provide for the people, and more importantly, protection of lives and property, so that at least people can even enjoy in the atmosphere where they live. Today, most of the people that are into businesses, they tell you that, see, I'm struggling to even survive. I want to do this. I don't want to be wayward. I don't want to steal. I don't want to constitute a nuisance to my society and the nation. I want to do something, yet the environment is not enabling. It's either you come and see your shop is being boggled, or you go to the shop, there's no electricity at the end of the day. So a lot of challenges Nigerians are faced with. Let's talk about the social services past administration. I'm talking about access to education. Some weeks back, we saw how that students have been protesting. ASU strike has almost become like not an annual event now, but quarterly, because of demands, because of needs that are not met, agreements that are not met. Students were protesting that, see, there's an increase in school fees, even though some institutions I'm seeing they're already reversing. And they say, see, these things are not school fees, but there are other charges, and this institution too pay for these services. So it has been increased. Who is to pay? The woman that is yet to be paid salary of how many months, or the person that is struggling in the market with all the difficulties and all of that? Like, the place of social service, provision of social services, and human capital development. I think our population should be an advantage to us. When we harness this population, we develop, like we invest in human capital development, then we'll talk about growth. Most of the nations that today we see them like we call developed nations, these are people that took advantage of their population. Like, what is the place at 63? We're talking about hope for Nigeria. Maybe you have something to say about social services and then human capital development.
Well, you see, I think our leaders have cheated this country a lot. That you discover that in the name of providing social services, loopholes are being created for people to embezzle from. You can imagine a contract you give for a particular sum of money. After a day or two, you keep inflating, you keep having variations. In terms of social amenities, we don't have social amenities. Probably just a few of our governors and the ministers in the ministries are actually doing the needful. But you see, when we are talking about provision of essential services, essential social amenities, we're talking about electricity, we're talking about access to healthcare, we're talking about access to education, we're talking about access to good drinking water. How many communities can boast of having good drinking water and accessible roads? You know, they're just very few. And these all are products of corruption. Somebody gives you an inflated contract, I mean, and nobody is there to even check. Thank God that recently on Twitter, that's the current X space, I noticed there's a particular people that try to reveal all of these shenanigans of our politicians. You know, they go to take pictures and then tell you this was the amount of money that was budgeted for this, and this is the state of the situation, I mean the state of things. You know, if our citizens can start holding government accountable, if we tell them, okay, these are things you promised to do, this project started and we have not seen them completed, what is the problem? Let's hold them to continue this. Look at the number of waste we have in this country. Like, you start a project, nobody is there to continue, it keeps rotting, getting rotten until it dies down. You know, it tells you the lack of insincerity, I mean the insincerity on the government's part. I was driving towards Nitel recently, the defunct Nitel headquarters, and I see how it's been shredded bare, the zinc have been removed, the windows, and Nitel was performing very well until they privatized Nitel. You know, we had a Nigerian airline that was working. We had a Nigerian shippers this thing that was working, and these were all things that were working, but because of our greed, people are trying to you know, because of our greed, people no longer care whether we have access to all these things. All their concern is themselves and the people around them.
Okay, considering where we are currently, what's the prospect for Nigeria? If at 63, this is where we are. Is there prospect, and what strategies can we use to?
Somebody said a fool at 40 is a fool forever. I don't want to apply this on Nigeria, but 43 years is not 46. 63 years, I'm sorry, is not 63 days. You need to see a man of 63 years. You know that this person has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of life. It's unfortunate that in Nigeria today, things have retrogressed to the point that it's very, very difficult for me to say that. Actually, I can tell you that I'm a pessimist when it comes to that. I can tell you that truly, because I have not seen anybody with the willpower to want to effect change. Even if you have the willpower, the truth is nobody wants to give you the chance. Nobody would want you to go there and outshine him, so that your administration will not be placed side by side and then to be compared. You know, so I feel if really we want to get it right, we need serious restructuring and social reorientation. We need to know that government is not a place for us to go and plunder. We need to know that government is all about services. We need to know that, look, somebody would want to do and say, oh, it's a government property, so what? You know, by the time we are patriotic, the first thing is for us to be patriotic. The first thing is for us to hold this country so dear. I was listening to a song by Timi Dakola, and it's like, this is all that we have. We have no other nation other than this. For those people that feel they have dual citizenship, the truth is there is no place like home. If at the end of the day we destroy this nation, the truth is we will never get a place where we'll have peace of mind and prosperity the way we do in this country. I mean, the way we will in this country.
Indeed, we must keep hope alive, and we can't just keep hope alive with doing nothing.
That's
Action
right.
too is needed. A renewed mindset is also needed. Thank you so much for creating time to discuss with us on National Talk.
Thank you very much.
Great analysis. And
Thank
to our
you.
viewers out there, thank you so much for staying with us on our lineup of shows on Hope for Nigeria. We really appreciate you. Do know that together we can get things working with renewed mindset, doing the right thing, voting or electing people on the basis of competence, people that are patriotic, people that are willing to serve. We can get this nation working again. Happy independence once again. Until we come your way next time. For now, you have a blessed night.